Can you retire in Canada with 400K? Stick around and I will show you what that looks like from 3 different angles. Now, I just did a video not too long ago about whether or not you could retire in Canada with 500K. And the answer is you can. But I accidentally left out a key detail in that video that actually affected all of the other variables. And someone noticed that and pointed it out to me in the comments. So I looked at it and I realized I need to change it, but you can't actually edit a video significantly once it's been posted on YouTube. So I realized the best thing for me to do would be to just delete it, which broke my heart because I really liked that video and it took me a very long time to make it. So I just decided I'm just gonna redo the video, but this time I'm gonna make it even leaner, retiring on 400K, just to highlight a point that you do not need a gazillion dollars to retire in Canada. But how it all plays out totally depends on a bunch of variables, such as where you live and how expensive it is, whether or not you have a pension, whether or not you own your own home, etc., etc. And it also really depends on what you want your retirement to look like. So like last time, I'm going to take you on a bit of a visual tour to see what this looks like from 3 different angles or scenarios, so you can get a really solid idea of how this can play out depending on the situation. So let's do it. Maud and Claude Dodd. That's our test couple today, and they hail from the wonderful province of Newfoundland. And these names are literally from Newfoundland. Now, I have no idea who these people are, but someone on a previous video posted these names in the comments and said that these are legit Newfie names. So that is awesome. And as always, if you have any equally brilliant names that rhyme, please post those in the comments below, because if they are as gold as Maud and Claude Dodd, then I am going to use them. Now, Maud and Claude are both 64 and are retiring Feb 1st of next year. They are in the home stretch, and here's their basic situation. They have 300K in RRSPs, 70K in TFSAs, and 30K in a high-interest savings account for their short-term/emergency reserves. 400K total. And let's just keep it relatively conservative and say that all of their investments are in a balanced portfolio earning just north of 5% over the long run. As for the rest of the situation, here it is. We're planning for both of them to live until age 90. We have long-term inflation set at 3%, but that's just our base case, and we always stress test for higher inflation than that, just in case. Now, they both have full old age security benefits, and both are set to get 85% of the maximum Canada pension plan benefit at age 65. They own a home worth 500K and no mortgage. And last but not least, here's what they're thinking for their retirement income. They would like $5,500 a month after taxes during their go-go phase when they're ripping around in their RV. Then when they hit age 75, they plan to drop it to $4,500 a month for their slow-go phase, and then wind it down to a cool $4,000 a month during the no-go phase starting at age 85. That is the situation. Well, that's their situation. You may feel like you would need more money than that or less money than that, but that's how it is for Maud and Claude. Now, as it stands, Maud and Claude are tracking at 96% of their goal, with a final after-tax estate worth $998K. So it's not bad. But the way things are set up now, they will run out of their spendable investments when they are age 87 and will be left with only OAS and CPP for their income. Now, of course, they still have their home, which, if we flip over to their net worth chart, we can see is their only remaining asset and is now making up the entire value of their estate. So they have assets, but they're not quite where they want to be in terms of their cash flow, in terms of what they can spend in retirement. They have a shortfall in the last 4 years of their life. So let's see what we can do to fix all of this. I'm going to start by seeing what it looks like if we delay each of their CPP benefits from age 65 until age 70. Well, that just bumped them from 96% on target to 101% on target. Increase their estate by 102K as well. Now, they may not actually want to delay their CPP, but the reason that they might want to do it is that if they delay, then they will get an increased benefit, an increased amount of CPP payments for the rest of their life. Now, I've done lots of other videos on that, so I won't bore you with it here. But as we can see here, if they do it, they will have to spend more of their own money earlier, but then way less later. It's really easy to see the impact if I click this option back off and we look at what it looks like if they take it at age 65 again. Looking at it this way, we can see that CPP and OAS make up about 2/3 of their income early on. The rest is coming from their own investments. But if we delay it to age 70 again, you can see that it's now big enough to cover almost all of their income needs in the later years. It's substantial. Anyway, let's move on. Personally, I find delaying OAS benefits far less appealing than delaying CPP benefits. But if they do choose to do that as well, then we would see another bump in their progress. But it's such a scrawny bump that I doubt they'd even go for it. Most people would probably just choose to take it earlier. Okay, we're still only at 101%, and that doesn't really leave a lot of buffer. So let's keep tweaking. Let's see what it would look like if we reduce their spending in retirement by just a smidge. If they dropped it by just 5%, that would take their income from $5,500 a month in their go-go phase to $5,225 a month, a decrease of $275. And this takes them from 101% to 107% on track. Huge improvement. Now, obviously, no one is going to get excited about having less money to spend in retirement, but at least now they know what it looks like, and it is a valid option. Well, what if Maud chose to work a bit on the side for an extra 5 years? Let's just keep it chill and say she earns an extra $10K a year, less than $1,000 a month. Now they're at 111%, which is starting to be an attractive amount of buffer, just in case they live longer or need more money at certain points. Now, what about downsizing? If they were to sell their $500,000 home 10 years into retirement and purchase another one for $400K, then they would have an additional $100K left over to add to their investments. Now, they don't need to do this, but if they do, they jump to 121% of their goal, which in my books is a pretty safe margin for error, which is what we want because we haven't even stress tested this plan yet. Now, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but let's just look at one particularly nasty possibility. Let's add another 1% onto our long-term inflation rate that we used for our base case. We have 3% set for long-term inflation, so adding 1 more percent would take it to 4%. Look at that. Nasty. Drop them right back down to 103%. Still in the black, but barely. See, this is the value of planning things out in advance. It gives you a really solid idea of what you can get away with and what you can't get away with. Never mind what it can do for your net worth and the value of your estate. Now, there's a whole bunch of strategies that we haven't even looked at yet that I normally would, but I'm just trying to keep things simple. And the point that I'm really trying to make here is that with a strategic game plan in place, you can make your assets go a lot further for you. A lot. We took this situation from 96% on target to 121% and increased the net estate from $998K to $1.41 million just with a few key strategies. We haven't even looked at how we can reduce their taxes by coming up with an optimized withdrawal plan from their different accounts, which is something that we always do. But let's just move on. Let's take a look at a couple other scenarios. We're going to delete all these strategies that we have in here, and we're just going to go right back to the base data. Let's just add one small pension to their situation. Claude hasn't been getting a lot of attention so far, so let's give it to him. Let's say Claude has a defined benefit pension from an old employer of $750 a month that starts at age 65, and it's indexed to grow with inflation. Well, that's a massive difference right out of the gates. If this was their situation, they could retire with $400K, no problem. We haven't even strategized at all, and their starting point is 114% on track. So they may actually want to increase what they plan to spend in retirement. We could increase their spending by another 5% and they're still in the clear. And again, we haven't even strategized yet. Point is, a defined benefit pension plan, even a small one, can have a huge impact on retirement income. Now, let's go back and delete that pension and try out our third scenario. Let's see what it looks like if Maud and Claude do not have a home that they own. As expected, we're back to our original situation in terms of cash flow at 96%. However, this time around, we do not have that large asset to lean on, and therefore there's nothing in the estate in the end. So the strategies that we can employ in this type of situation are going to be a little bit more limited, but we can still make it work. Let's bump out our CPP to age 70 again, but this time around, we're going to look at tweaking our retirement age just a smidge. Rather than retiring at 65, Maud and Claude are going to hold off 1 year and retire at 66. This is a big improvement. They're at 107% now. Now, obviously, neither of them are super excited about this option, but they know that they can do it if they need to because it's a way better option than running out of money in retirement. But we're still not quite where we want to be, so let's just adjust the retirement spending like we did last time and drop it by 5% again. Nice. Now they're at 112%, and they're even tracking towards having some resources left over to pass down to their kids. So can you retire with 400K? Yes, but don't do it without a solid game plan. Just ask your advisor to build you one, or better yet, ask yourself why you're paying them if they haven't already done it.